there's such a lack of awareness of how much nutrition impacts our mental health. And so often I see people go into these blame and shame cycles of what's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I'm like, actually, okay, so you had something traumatic happen and you're sleep deprived and you're sad and you've been keto and maybe you don't even know you have a genetic predisposition for low serotonin. And so your serotonin's in the crapper and you're feeling so just down. And guess what? Actually eating carbs is smart. Your body's probably telling you to go eat some carbs because it's like, we need to get serotonin up so you're not so sad, friend. And then people are like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just don't have any willpower. And I'm like, hold on, let's look into this. So let me give some basic information. I'd say the biggest impact of that keto has on certain neurotransmitters would be dopamine, serotonin, and GABA. So when you're keto, your dopamine will be higher. So when you eat a diet that's mostly fat and protein, you're going to favor dopamine production. That's because tyrosine, the building block of dopamine, and tryptophan, the building block of serotonin, they compete to get across the blood-brain barrier. So if you're eating more fats and proteins, the tyrosine is going to win. You're going to be more dopamine or making more dopamine. And then if you are eating more carbs and protein as the majority of your diet, you'll favor serotonin production. So what does this mean? If you are somebody who has really low dopamine and you go keto, you may all of a sudden you may have a life-changing experience on your mood. You're like, all of a sudden I'm driven and I'm making my dreams come true and I'm nice to everybody and confident and like, wow, that's where I think a lot of the zealots of keto come from, these deeper biological processes they're having. They don't understand, they're like, all I know is I got better. Things got better. Like I felt a lot better. But let's say somebody they already have good dopamine levels, but they have low serotonin. And then they go keto and they get higher dopamine, but they might like that a little bit, but didn't really need it that much, but they needed the little bit of serotonin that they were getting. And now all of a sudden it's dropped and they're in a place where they are sad and crying a lot and just feeling really emotional. And then they're likely to put more pressure on themselves. Come on, like, why can't you just do this thing? And it's like, people, you need to know that there could be a biochemistry aspect to this process for you. And so I always honor people. I'm like, listen, like if you don't feel better on keto and you've been doing it for like a month, and you just don't feel better, like it's okay to honor that. It's not the only way to be healthy. You can also eat a balanced diet and exercise and get many of similar benefits, So, and then GABA, I like to share about. So ketone bodies have been found to be GABAergic. So what's GABA? GABA is like the brakes on our brain. So a lot of people who are overthinkers, they just can't stop. They may like being in a ketogenic state because that overthinking is usually indicative of it can also be, maybe you need to meditate and work on some things like that. But glutamate is a neurotransmitter that causes it's excitatory. It's like go in our minds. And if that conversion, it turns into GABA. So if it doesn't turn into the brakes in the brain, we're just like chronically obsessing over these little things. And it's, it makes people feel crazy. And so ketone bodies can help increase your GABA levels and help that to stop. So that can be really, really enjoyable experience for some people, but if you already have good GABA levels, you're not going to feel that you're not going to really need that, And so I like to go into this in the book of like some different things you might be feeling and experiencing on keto and why, and then the last one would be adrenaline. This is something that honestly concerns me. And so Dr. Jeff Volek and Stephen Finney did a study on this because a lot of people were concerned that keto might just be this high on ketones, might actually just be high on adrenaline, which feels great and helps you lose weight in the beginning, but over time it increases cortisol and can actually cause you to gain weight and have health problems. And so they showed that as long as you have adequate salt intake on keto, that you can offset the overproduction of adrenaline on keto. But if you don't, which I say is pretty, like, you don't know exactly what your sodium levels are and what your needs are that day. So if I get concerned about people who may not have adequate salt levels on keto and they're going into this high adrenaline state for years on end, and that can cause problems in the long run. So just something to be aware of. I share all the details of that in the book, but this impact of our how are you feeling? Are you really feeling better? Are you feeling kind of crazy? Are you feeling kind of like manic and overly busy or uber confident, too confident, like you don't care about anybody anymore? Like maybe your dopamine is through the roof, you know? So I just like to create awareness of these things so people don't have this shame and stigma of what's wrong with me and they actually have some understanding behind it.